Welcome to another episode of Fringe
Beyond Limits.
Do you always have to sound so sultry?
I do.
Welcome.
It's like one of those like late night sex talks.
Hey.
Or this is Jazz. WBB.
This is
WPPQDQB.
Mi chiamo Francesco.
Papa Francesco.
Io mio cuore. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, I do need to sound so sultry.
How do you say, where is the bathroom in Italian?
¿Dónde está el baño?
That's Spanish.
Sí.
So the other day, my work was doing like a softball thing, and at the end, we were all talking, and I was talking about the podcast.
Yeah.
And I played a little clip from our podcast, and they were like, they only heard Frank's voice. They're like, that sounds so relaxing.
Even though our episodes are anything but relaxing.
Apparently your voice is very relaxing
If
sounding.
you like your daily dose of true crime, paranormal adventures, ghosts, demons,
And toilet adventures.
And Frank's voice.
and my toilet time.
Not like tummy time for kids. It's toilet time
It's
for,
toilet time for Frank.
adults.
Toilet time with Frank.
Toilet time with Frank. You are in for a treat.
And every time you make a joke, you make a flush. Instead of badunch, it's
Yeah. And then the Pope fell off his chair.
You're a dork.
Yeah. So, how's everyone doing?
You're pretty good.
Great.
I am exhausted. I did a golf scramble yesterday,
Yeah.
and I didn't get a nap,
Mm-hmm.
and I am tired. And then I ended up going over to Brian and Breeze, and he won a very nice bottle of whiskey.
At the golf thingy?
Yeah,
Yep.
at the scramble. And
Not eggs.
no.
Golf scramble.
Golf.
Yeah.
Not eggs.
Just checking.
Listen, I can go for some scrambled eggs right
I
now.
know you said you'd put everything in eggs. I
Oh,
remember.
absolutely. I would put everything: semen,
Spaghetti.
spaghetti, vaginal fluid.
Ew.
That's
Don't-
so gross.
Don't stop.
What? We don't spit you out, right?
No, but the words are gross.
Vaginal secretion.
Stop. Okay. I'd rather you just say moist all day long and call it a day.
So
A moist vaginal secretion.
Brian told me to ask you about
Mm.
your black cherry white claw experience.
It was horrible. So the cart girl came around for the first time. She came around, and Anthony bought the first round, and they're like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Surprise me, I don't care." And the cart girl's like, "That's a lot of pressure." And I'm like, "Just grab first thing you grab. I'll drink it." I'm like an alcoholic, so I'll drink. I do drink anything. So she was still like, and Anthony just looks at the thing, goes, "Give him a black cherry white claw." I'm like, "Yeah, fine, whatever." So my first and last white claw ever.
Which
100%.
is still hard to believe that he's never had a white claw before.
It was disgusting.
They are gross.
I agree.
And the black cherry is the worst.
You know, that's Bree's favorite.
No, so my favorite white claws are black cherry, raspberry, and watermelon. But I like High Noons better. So
I don't like any of them. Give me a Coors Light, and I'm in heaven.
but you didn't tell her that. You just said pick whatever.
I know. I mean, because Anthony's a beer snob, you know.
Oh yeah.
So there he gets his whatever, and his buddy was with us. He got whatever. I don't even remember what Brian got, but I'm like, just get me. I don't care. Just first thing you grab out of the cooler is what I want, and she couldn't do that. So anyway.
No, when you golf, you're supposed to order a salty dog. That's like the thing.
What's a salty dog?
It's grapefruit,
Mm-hmm.
gin,
Mm-hmm.
and my eye's switching.
Salt.
Yeah, I think it usually has like a
And
salt rim. I
Is
can't
the
remember.
garnish a hot dog?
You. What?
Because you said salty dog. That's,
Oh. Not putting that together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like like the Bloody Marys that they put everything on top. This that's the garnish.
Yeah. I don't think that's how it works.
That's okay.
Yeah, but I've never heard of a salty dog before.
I guess it's either vodka or gin and grapefruit.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Never.
They're really good.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know
like
why they don't
grapefruit,
just
though.
say like a vodka grapefruit.
Right.
It just sounds funner.
Oh, funner.
Funner to say salty dog.
Give me a salty dog.
Yeah.
You know, salty shot in my face.
Maybe a squeeze a lime.
Squeeze this. Daddy.
No.
Mm.
No. Just put it in a blender.
Put it in where?
A blender.
Oh, you've been
In a
listening.
bloody blender.
Ooh, a bloody
Very bloody.
blender.
Or a blender. That was a blender. Anyway,
All right.
on that note, now I know what keeps me up at night.
Yeah, my voice and the things that come out of my mouth
Yeah.
and go in. All right. So things that keep us up at night. We're going to start with Lynette this week so Brianna doesn't steal her topic.
Yeah. That was only one time.
It's been like 32 times.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay, so this one really does bother me. So they say when you die, you lose your bowels. Like, I kind of am terrified. What if I'm found dead somewhere and I'm just covered in poop or pee?
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah, sometimes it happens when you're at the coroner's office too. Instead of like right when you after you die.
That's awful.
Why? Why is that
Why
awful?
would it care? You're dead anyways.
Well, whoever finds me, I don't know. I have a fear of that. Like,
Okay. Just always wear a diaper.
That's not bad. Well, yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah. So you'll be
So
fine.
from this day forward, she's going to start wearing a
Yeah.
diaper.
Yeah. She's going to look very, very plump
I'm gonna-
around her midsection.
I'm gonna be
there.
shuffling in my senior year, screech, screech, screech from
Yeah.
the.
Is that just a poop shifting back and forth
No,
from in the diaper?
I meant like the
Squish,
plastic
squish,
part.
squish,
Maybe I'll
squish.
find adult cloth diapers.
Oh, that's disgusting. Listen, I understand that it saves money, cloth diapers, but God bless you guys, whoever uses them, because I could never shit in an article of clothing and be like, oh, it's still good. Let me just throw it in the fucking washer.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you have to like scrape them off?
Right. I don't know.
That's a good question.
Like, do you scrape them into the toilet or like into the sink and just kind of mash it down?
Oh.
Oh shoot!
The
I
garbage
dropped my
disposal?
grapes in the sink.
Yeah, right.
And you put it in the garbage disposal. Like,
Honey, I was defrosting a chicken in there.
do you think if it, like they put through the garbage disposal, does it splatter out?
Ugh.
I would like it to.
Ugh. It's kind of like when you flush a toilet, they say like poop particles come out. Is it the same thing?
I have no idea. When I poop, I fill the toilet up, so probably.
That's why you're supposed to close the lid before you flush.
Oh, what do you think pops the lid up?
Sick.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's just so thunderous.
I think this poop talk's going to keep me up at night.
Yeah, well, you know,
I'm just gonna have to do enemas.
dude,
Then I won't.
I
Poop.
want
Then I
one.
won't Poop.
I want one. I really do.
You can buy like kits online.
Yeah, listen. I don't think I can put something up my own butt.
It's like a tube no bigger than this headset wire.
I'm not saying it's painful. I just don't think I can physically bring myself to doing it.
Oh.
Yeah. And I don't know why. Like it's
Then
a
how are you
mental
ever gonna
block.
go gay officially?
Well, because I'm not the one putting it up there. Someone else is putting it in there for me or for them.
Maybe they have
for
an
us.
applicator.
He's or she is doing it for us.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah. Now I could probably put something in somebody else's butt. Again, going gay, not clear, but
Like a balloon of drugs.
yeah.
Spread them a little further,
Yeah,
sweetie.
yeah. Stop clenching. Don't clench. You're making it more harder.
I already warmed this up, so it wouldn't be so shocking.
Right
Anyway.
there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There. Oh.
Too far.
Never. Okay. All right. So yeah, Bree, what keeps you up at night besides what we just talked about?
So, what if humans are just specimens in an experiment conducted by specimens? An experiment.
No, hold
specimens.
on. No, specimens.
And?
What the fuck is a
Hey,
specimen?
at least I didn't say Cybertooth.
Saber-toothed tigers. They're real. Look it up.
No.
Saber-tooth.
That's not, it's saber tooth.
I know it's saber-tooth. I misspoke. Okay, I know.
Exactly.
I get it.
I misspoke.
No,
okay?
no, you
get it.
No, you just didn't read. Specimen
It's actually technically spelled the same species, except for there's no in it. Yeah. Anyways,
Specimen.
can I just
Yeah,
read my
start
question?
Over. Start over.
What if humans are just specimens in an experiment conducted by aliens?
Yeah, I've thought about that before.
Yeah. What if though?
No, what if? You tell me.
I'm asking you.
Yeah, well, this has kept you up at night, so you tell me.
Yeah, it keeps me up at night because I don't have an answer.
Okay, so where has
So
your
I want to
mind-
know what you think.
I think that it's a possibility, and if that's the case, then the paranormal doesn't exist because we're experiments. So therefore, we don't have free will or consciousness or any of that stuff, and religion doesn't exist either.
Well, it does as part of the creation in the experiment.
And what also, well, it matters to the aliens. It doesn't matter to us and our greater good.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, all this means nothing. Us waking up and going to work means absolutely nothing to nobody.
So it's not real.
No, it's real. It just doesn't matter.
Interesting.
That's what I think. That's
We're all
my
just
opinion.
playing The Sims up there, or
Yeah.
outside of here, wherever there is.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I think about it, I think of like, when you have like the scientists at back times, and like they have like rats doing experiments and they kind of overlooking like a thing and looking at rats. I'd picture like aliens looking in a box and it's just humans,
So we're like an ant farm to them.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they just observe us.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a possibility. Do I think it's the case? No. But it's definitely a possibility. I like that one.
You actually liked one I did?
I know.
You made me jump. My heart skipped a beat because
Oh, that was awesome.
Oh, God.
and it's not for you to like or dislike. This is a judgment-free zone.
I'm not judging. I'm just giving my opinion that I liked it. That's
know.
all.
But you always say that sucked. That
Yeah.
was stupid.
Yeah. Because that's my opinion. No one has to like it or
Right.
take it.
But it's what keeps us up at
Right.
night.
And sometimes I think it's stupid.
Well, I don't care.
You shouldn't. I'm not asking
Right.
you
Well,
to.
I don't care what you're going to say. Yours is stupid.
Oh, 100%.
It blows monkey chunks.
You could have just stopped at monkeys. You did not have to add that extra word.
I did.
Well, you don't have
Because
to.
it was my choice.
Listen, my opinion is that's stupid. Okay.
Yeah.
Suck what?
Tell me what you got.
8 inches. Oh, you don't have a retort for that?
I'm slow blinking you. That's all I got.
I'm slow blinking.
Don't stare at me in that tone of voice.
Well,
Jesus. All right. So, if everyone feels like life is unfair, does that make life fair for everyone?
that sucks.
It does
And
suck.
yes, it does.
So then
It sucks to suck.
it sucks to suck. So
Yeah.
then life is fair.
Yeah.
All right. Bree,
That hurt my brain thinking about it.
I would love to find something that doesn't hurt your brain.
Me too.
No.
God damn it, you guys. So,
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
Do you think it does? Or it would? Or
I think it I go back and forth on it. So I think it makes it fair because everybody thinks it's unfair. But
from the alien perspective?
from the alien perspective, I think it's still unfair.
But I think we make the things that are unfair.
Is it us or is it the environment that was created for us?
Goes back to, did we create it or not? Was it
Chicken or the
created for
egg?
us?
Chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Let's not go back to that.
No.
Old wounds, too fresh, too soon.
Too soon. Hashtag.
20 episodes ago.
All right. Hey,
Yeah, look at us. We're up to 25.
Are we really?
If folks have stuck around this long, welcome to 25, our
Jesus.
quarter of a century.
That means it's been a minimum of 25 hours spent with you guys in this room.
It's a lot.
That's a long
We need to
time.
redecorate.
We do. I actually agree. I'm going to put
Oh God.
George Costanza-esque photos of me
Oh God.
up here, on the couch in my boxers.
Oh boy.
Yeah, not
under
happening.
do you sleep under the desk too, like George Costanza?
I do.
Nice.
I actually just watched that episode last week.
It's a good episode.
That is a good episode.
It's like come up a few times at work just this week, I think.
Really? That's so weird.
Yeah.
Synchronicity.
See? No coincidences. Coincidences.
Coincidence. Specimen.
Specimens. Yeah.
Specimen.
Yeah.
That's like someone's last name.
It's a sad last
like
name.
Goldman. Hey, specimen. All right. So, what is this week's episode, ladies?
Bloody Benders.
The Bloody Blenders.
Benders.
Oh, benders.
Benders, like just went on a bender.
Like bent over?
Yep.
All right.
Just like that.
All right.
Sure.
So, the Bloody Benders, a brutal business. The Bender family, originally believed to have come from either Germany or the Netherlands, settled in the United States in the 1870s. They were part of a wave of European immigrants who sought new opportunities in the expanding frontier of the American Midwest. The family consisted of John Bender Sr., his wife Elvira, also known as Ma, their son John Jr., and their daughter Kate. Question. When you guys hear the name Elvira, do you guys start singing the song too?
Elvira.
Never heard of it.
Boom, boom, Elvira.
It's an old country song.
Old country, yeah.
That's probably why I don't know, because I don't do country.
You're missing out on
You are.
That part sounds like a different song to me.
All right. Well, there seems to be endless folklore and legends surrounding the Benders, so it is hard to separate the fact from the fiction. In this episode, we will do our best to give you the most accurate and straightforward depiction of what is claimed to have happened. So they're America's first family of serial killers.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of the Bloody Blenders before. Bender, sorry.
It's so hard not to say bloody blenders.
No, I keep saying blenders on purpose, but yeah.
I know, but it rolls off the tongue.
It does.
Nicely.
It's very,
really does.
It's very aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The alliteration.
The alliteration of the aesthetically pleasing words of bloody.
Blah. Blender.
Blenders.
Yeah. All right, let's meet the family, Frank.
All right. John Bender Sr., the patriarch of the infamous Bender family, was a shadowy figure shrouded in mystery. Maybe he's the original shadow person.
It could be.
Little is definitely known about his personal life or background. He was described as a giant, towering, intimidating man, measuring in at 6 feet tall. That's me. I'm 6 foot tall. With stern expression, piercing black eyes, and huge bushy eyebrows. I love people with a strong eyebrow game. His intense and striking features landed him the nickname of Old Beetle-Browed John. That's horrible.
That's like saying you limp liquor.
You like liquor?
That was they were wimpy with their nicknames back then.
That's
Beetle-browed.
Old Beetle-Browed John. Oh, you silly jaguar cleft palate looking person. I don't know. I mean, like, this is ridiculous.
That was his nickname. I'm sure he loved it.
Hey,
He might have come up with it himself.
Look at that. There's, old Sparrow cross-eyed Jim over there. All right. So John was described to only have a limited grasp of English. Obviously, with that fucking nickname. And when he did speak, his English was considered guttural and predominantly unintelligible. John was 60 when he immigrated to America. Some historical documents suggest that John Bender might not actually be his real name. While the Emporia News reports John sometimes went by the name of William, other sources suggest his real name might actually be John Flickinger.
Flickinger.
Flickinger?
Does he flicker?
Flickinger. So Slickinger, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fun to say.
Oh, I thought you guys were
I
making
wasn't
fun
correct.
of me.
No,
Well,
we're
we're always
being
making
funny.
Oh, Jesus. I'm like, did I say it wrong? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, cool. Listen, once you say cyber tooth tiger, there's no coming back, I guess. Until specimen comes up.
You beetle brow, blonde head,
blonde headed bully.
bully.
Elvira, Ma Bender, was the matriarch of the family and was described as a stern, imposing woman with a sharp tongue and a cold demeanor. She was a heavy-set woman known to be very unfriendly and recounted as having sinister eyes and who spoke little English. Ma also had claimed that she was a medium and could speak to the dead. She would also boil herbs. That was her Brie. Brie says herbs, not herbs.
I think in Europe they say herbs.
It is. She's
Yeah.
just channeling a past life from England.
And also too, I watch a lot of cooking shows
Listen.
that they're English.
Listen, you're in America, you will speak American.
No,
So
Yes.
that just means speaking in acronyms.
Yes. LMFAO.
herbs.
All right. So boiling herbs and roots so she can cast charms and spells. She was feared by her husband and son as she ran the household with an iron hand. Her neighbors would call her the she-devil. She was around 55 years old when she immigrated to America with her family. She too might have taken on more than one alias, as documents suggest that she was born under the name Elmira Hill Monarch in the Adirondack Mountains.
Adirondack.
Adirondack Mountains.
Morton's.
Other records list her under the name Elmira Monroe. In her 40s, records indicated her name as Elmira Mark, and was once married to a man by the name of Simon Mark. She and her then husband had their 12 children, lived together in Michigan in the 1860s. She would go on to marry another man by the name of William Griffith and possibly several others. Question: 12 children. How blown out is that badge?
Loosey goosey.
Well, she obviously keeps finding men who like that.
Maybe she's just finding well-endowed men that nobody else can handle and only she can.
Well,
Maybe.
maybe the vaginas for the babies and the butts is for the sex.
I thought
Going
babies were
back to
shit
earlier.
out.
There's also other holes too.
Yeah, holes are holes.
Holes are holes.
I mean, does it really matter? Holes are holes. So, John Jr. was about 25 years old, described as a tall yet imposing, slender, handsome man with auburn hair and a mustache. Little is known about John Bender Jr.'s personal life. However, he was able to speak English fluently with a German accent. He was a social person and prone to laugh aimlessly, which made others think of him as a half-wit. What's a half-wit? What the fuck was that?
A half-foot.
That was awesome, Lynette. That was fantastic. Kate was a beautiful 23-year-old with a gentle demeanor who spoke English well, with little to no accent. She was known to be the friendliest of the family. She was always quick to laugh and talk to strangers. Quick to laugh, Lynette. Kate considered herself a healer and psychic and would give lectures on spiritualism and conducted seances. Along with her psychic powers, she claimed she could communicate with the dead. Kate desired notoriety and often debated and advocated for free love and justification for murder. We're off the rails. In her interactions with others, at one of her lectures, she was quoted saying, "Shall we confine ourselves to a single love and deny our natures their proper sway, even though it be brother's passion for his own sister? I say it should not be smothered." Along with her desire for popularity and fame, she also craved wealth and position. Though her beauty and social skills gained popularity with the locals, however, her actions led some folks to say she was satanic. It was to be this diminutive Bender family member who would take most of the blame of what was soon to be found out about this infamous family. While her parents would often shy away from interacting with others, Kate and John Jr. were often seen out socializing with neighbors and travelers. They are even reported to religiously attend Sunday services together.
I'm surprised you didn't question the love your brother as your passion for your sister.
Oh, that's why I told you to laugh at that part. That was,
I thought you were going to make some sort of
No,
joke, though.
I just wanted you to laugh. I thought that would be better. So,
Oh, God.
yeah. Listen, I'm a comedian. I know what's funny or not. Indeed, there are so many questions surrounding the identity of these 4 individuals, including the very composition of their family.
Air quotes.
Air quotes.
Family.
Yeah, listen, if you...
Just emphasizing.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you can't be with your family, who can you be with?
Oh, yeah.
You know? Some clues even suggest John Bender Jr. and Kate Bender weren't actually siblings. Well, that makes sense then. A Bible with German notes found in the family's cabin identified John Jr. as John Gebhardt, suggesting he may have been married to Kate instead of her brother. In fact, many believe held any biological relationship, nor were there any of them actually named Bender.
Yeah, meaning a lot of people didn't think the entire family unit was related.
Yeah, so...
Or they questioned it.
So do you think they had like an upside pineapple at all times and they were just a pair of swingers?
Yep.
Possibly.
Yeah, all right.
Because they had that back then.
Did they?
Yep.
Okay.
They had pineapples back then?
Sure.
I don't think so. I think those were just created like in 1976.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cross-pollination of pine trees and apples.
And apples.
Yeah.
Pineapple.
Yep.
Okay. Sometime in 1870, the Benders, along with 4 other spiritualist families, settled in a very rural area known as Labate County, Kansas, in the township of Osage, roughly 7 miles away from what is now known as the city of Cherryvale.
See? Swinger family on the move.
Yeah, absolutely. They need more meat.
And potatoes.
Yep. John Bender Sr. registered approximately 165 to 180 acres of land adjacent to the Great Osage Trail, which at the time was the only open road leading west. He and his son got to work rather quickly building and outfitting their homestead with a small 1-room framed cabin, a barn, and a horse corral, a well for water, and a sizable 2-acre vegetable garden and apple orchard. Early the following year, in 1871, his wife Elvira and daughter Kate arrived, and it was decided to turn the wood cabin into a dual space. A large canvas wagon cover was used as a partition, creating living quarters in the back and a small inn and grocery in the front, selling supplies and a few dry goods like oats and other grains. The front was also used as an inn or hot meal kitchen where the family would cook for travelers and provide a place to rest or even spend the night. It wasn't too long before the Benders opened their inn and began to welcome travelers. Choosing to locate along the Great Osage Trail proved to be successful, as this was a popular route for travelers heading west, and they had a lot of migrants moving through their area. So, the Benders on a bender. Bodies start piling up. Number 1, is this like the first kill?
The first
Recorded
kill. Yeah.
Okay. So in May of 1871, a body was discovered in Drum Creek, about 9.5 miles away from the Bender homestead, as the crow flies.
Straight line.
The victim was found with his throat cut and his skull crushed. Known only by the name of Jones, locals initially suspected that the owner of the creek might have had something to do with the murder. But oddly, it appears as no action was taken. No records indicate an investigation or arrest. Number 2. A little less than a year later, in February of 1872, 2 more bodies were discovered. Both victims were male, and both were found nearly identical injuries as Jones. Slit throat, blunt trauma to the head. These men were never identified. Numbers 3 through 9. By the end of the year in 1872, the reports of missing people had become so common that travelers were beginning to avoid the trail and the area entirely. Although not confirmed, a family of 4 traveling from from Missouri to California, a young woman traveling alone from the East Coast, and a man and his young son traveling from Kansas to Nebraska all seem to have gone missing during this time in this area. It didn't help that the trail was already known for bandits, horse thieves, and highwaymen. Oftentimes, officials would arrest someone for committing the crimes, but would later release them and not too long after. It has been said many innocent people were driven out of the area by these reports. In the early days, some travelers were known to carry large sums of cash, and it was not uncommon for a few to go missing from time to time. Friends and family of these individuals would try to search for them, but their search would only take them as far as southeast Kansas before losing all trace. Even then, friends and families didn't raise many alarms, assuming their loved ones just continued on their westward journey. Numbers 10 to 12. In the winter of 1872, George Newton Lonker left Independence, Kansas, with his 18-month-old daughter, Mary Ann, to start anew in Iowa, but they never made it and were never heard from again. In the spring of 1873, Lanker's former neighbor, esteemed Dr. William Henry York, set off to search for Lanker and his daughter. Dr. York questioned many homesteaders who lived along the trail and had known Lanker to take. According to records, once he reached Fort Scott on March 9th, he decided to give up his search and return back home. But like so many others that preceded him, he would never arrive to be heard from again.
How come people back then, there's always three names? William Henry York. George Newton Lonker.
Because maybe because there were so many people with a similar first and last name, they needed to say their middle name to distinguish between people.
Maybe. I mean, that would make sense. I just noticed that back then that they do that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like,
always curious.
So formal.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe it was just a formality as well. John Wilkes Booth.
Yep. Olivia Newton-John.
Francesco Pauletti.
No, it's Francesco, no middle name. Paoli.
What was that specimen?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So would you ever, like, if you were living back in the day, do you think you would be one of those go explore, head west, or would you be a I'm going to stay in the city type of person? Knowing that there's wild animals and bandits and native tribes and...
You know, me being who I am right now would be, I'd stay in the city.
Yeah.
Me growing up in that time, I would probably go west and go for the adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, what about you?
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's not many things you wouldn't do.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I have some life skills, but I don't have self-defense skills. So I could tell you what to forage and eat,
yeah,
and where to like build shelter and hide, but I don't know how to protect myself.
I do know how to protect
myself.
You
just like rub two sticks together, like Parent Trap.
Yeah, yeah,
and it just worked.
Yeah, yeah. You actually take all your change from your left pocket, you put it in your right pocket, switch shoes with your neighbor, turn your hat to the side, jump up and down 4 times, and then just face plant into the fucking river and drown yourself. But that's as good as it's going to get for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That was terrible.
Oh, I mean, yes, I'm stupid. However, this unsolved spree of disappearances and murders would not last forever. And this is where the gruesome story of what happened to all these people would come to light. Dr. York had 2 brothers, Colonel Ed and Alexander M. York, both of whom had status and prominence in their community. At the time, Colonel Ed was an esteemed military officer, and Alexander was a member of the Kansas State Senate. Both brothers were aware of Dr. York's travel plans, so when he failed to return home, they knew something was amiss and went in search for him. Colonel York led a 50-plus person search party for the missing doctor and questioned every traveler they encountered on the trail and visited every homestead along the way and beyond. On March 28th, 19 days after Dr. York was last seen in approximately 55 miles southwest of Fort Scott, Colonel York arrived at the Bender family inn. Colonel York had explained to the Benders that his brother has gone missing and asked if they had seen him or anything that might help him locate him. Interesting, the Benders admitted to seeing Dr. York and that he did stay at their inn. The Benders went on to say that the doctor may had run into trouble with the local natives. The colonel agreed that this might be very well be a possibility of his brother's disappearance and later agreed to stay with the Benders for dinner.
No, don't stay there.
He's going to eat his brother?
Oh,
I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't know what they ate.
Oh, okay.
What if they did eat?
Right. That's right. That's the first thing I thought of.
Ooh.
Well, also,
This is like a scary movie. Like, don't go upstairs.
yeah.
It's
Don't
just
stay there.
like Sweeney Todd.
Yeah. So here's the thing is that if I was the Benders, deny. No idea who he is. That didn't stay here.
No, I feel like they're trying to reel him in.
I feel as though you just say, I have no idea what you're talking about. Because back then, what proof is there of him staying there? Unless you're holding on to his head on the podium of when you first walk in, like right next to the cash register.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, deny.
I think they were just thinking maybe they got another victim.
Well, I would assume that Colonel York would be like, yeah, I got 50 people with me.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
You probably should have just said no.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
They clearly a half-wit.
That's amazing. This divulgence of information would seem to be the tipping point for the Benders. Their arrogance would begin to display in this time, in which is likely what ended their reign of terror. Just a few days later, on April 3rd, Colonel York would return to the Bender family inn with armed men when he caught wind of a woman who claimed Elvira, Ma Bender, threatened her with knives. Elvira didn't exactly deny the allegation. Instead, she played the no speak, no understand English card. This in turn caused Colonel York to double down even when the children stepped in and adamantly denied the claim on behalf of their mother. This confrontation caused Ma to become enraged. In a fit of fury, Ma said that the woman was a witch and tried to curse her coffee. Ma then ordered the men to leave. So much for no speak, no understand English.
Right?
So,
So you've been playing dumb this whole time?
yeah.
Or?
She lied.
I mean, are we going to gloss over the fact that somebody tried to curse her coffee?
Right.
I mean, all right. So this obviously revealed that Ma was a lot more fluent in English than she and her family had led on and claimed. Before the colonel left, Kate Bender asked him to come back the next day, the evening of Friday the 4th, alone, so she can use her clairvoyant abilities to help him find his brother.
Red flag. Red flag. Come
Right.
alone.
Come alone
Do you
in the
think-
middle of the night.
Yeah. Do you think she's going to seduce him?
I don't know what they do beforehand.
I don't know either.
Who knows?
At this time, the armed men in the colonel's search party were entirely convinced that the Benders and one of the neighboring families, the Roaches, were guilty and wanted to see them all hanged. But Colonel York insisted on concrete evidence first. At this point, the locals in the communities all started pointing fingers at one another. It was decided a town hall meeting was needed. It was said 75 plus locals and neighbors attended a meeting at a local schoolhouse. Those in attendance included Colonel Ed York, John Bender Sr., and John Bender Jr. After discussing the disappearances, they all agreed a search warrant would be obtained to search every homestead between Drum Creek and Big Hill Creek. Despite the community's and Colonel York's suspicion, no one thought to keep an eye on the Bender family during the days it took to obtain the legal search warrants.
Durr.
I mean, how stupid are you guys?
So stupid.
I mean...
The whole town's full of half-wits. Nice job, Bree.
Wow. I am surrounded by half-wits.
My
Yeah,
laugh
so
reminded me
together-
of the clown on The Simpsons.
Oh, Krusty.
Yeah, Chris the clown. Can't we do it anymore?
About 3 days after the town hall gathering, a neighbor by the name of Billy Toll was driving his herd of cattle past the Bender property when he noticed their cabin and inn were empty and abandoned and their livestock left hungry and unattended to. At some point, the Benders themselves chose to disappear, and it was apparent that they used this time to flee when no one was looking. Toll went on to notify his townsmen, but due to inclement weather, it was several days before the abandoned property could be investigated.
Strike two.
This kind of also like has remnants of Sawney Bean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
When the weather broke, several hundred volunteers formed a search party of 15 plus men, which included Colonel York. The search party found that the inn was empty of food, clothing, and possessions. It was as if the Benders were never there. It wasn't long before someone noticed a horrendous odor coming up from the floor of the cabin, specifically from a trapdoor underneath the bed, which was nailed shut. Once they were able to open the trapdoor, they discovered a 6-foot deep empty room that was about 6 by 7 foot with semi-dried clotted blood that was still gel-like on the floor. The floor was broken up by a sledgehammer and no bodies were found, so they assumed the bad odor came from the blood that was soaked into the floorboards and soil. The men then decided to move the entire cabin as to better search under it.
Yeah, they straight up lifted the cabin.
Okay, I was reading that wrong.
No.
Yeah, because they weren't attached to the ground yet, so they were able to.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But again, no bodies were found. They ended up probing the ground.
We put that in there for you.
Thanks, I appreciate that, guys.
I saw that and I saw giggling.
They ended up probing the ground around the cabin with a metal rod until they located the garden and orchard. They noticed that the soil in this area appears to have been recently disturbed. Later that evening, Dr. York's body was found buried face down in a shallow grave with his feet barely below the surface. They continued to probe throughout the night and into the next day. 9 other bodies had been found in the vegetable garden and orchard. Another body was later found in the well alongside extraneous body parts from other victims. All but one had their heads bashed with what was presumed to be a hammer and their throats cut. Unfortunately, they also found a body of a young girl. She had no injuries that were sufficient to cause death, but was speculated she was strangled or worse, buried alive. In total, the Benders were believed to have murdered between 16 and 20 individuals, and those were the ones they were able to find so far around their property.
That's not how you fertilize a garden.
No, you poop in it.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Decomposition.
Yeah, no, you poop. Have you seen my backyard? It's fantastic.
I meant burying people.
I know what you meant.
Oh.
I'm still talking about pooping. I poop outside with the dogs.
I'm going to make you a t-shirt.
I poop outside with the dogs?
Yeah.
I'll wear it.
You get a mug too that says it.
Here you go.
Yeah. All right, so the victims.
I was going to say the one other thing that I wanted to point out. So they found gelatinous blood downstairs, which I was trying to figure out how long it takes. Don't look at my internet history. Probably get arrested because they probably think I'm murdering people.
Yeah, you're on a
let's
list.
hope that nothing happens to anyone you know because they're going to be like, what's this?
But when I started Googling, how long does a large pool of blood take to dry and coagulate? It said depending on the size, it can a couple hours to a day. So
that some of them were fresh.
So yeah, if it's gelatinous and not crusty or flaky, then
yeah, no,
it's interesting.
Do you think it would last longer though without if it's not surrounded by a lot of oxygen and
probably
the fact that it was kind of
cool
buried
underground probably helped it last a little longer. Yeah, but probably no breeze or something to help dry it out. But
yeah, probably
still, they just missed them. But why nail it shut?
To make it seem like it's not a door. That's why
because they didn't want anyone to find it.
Don't you feel like nails in a square would bring attention?
But when
this is a spot.
But do you think they maybe had a carpet covering it, like a rug?
No, because it was under the bed.
Well, did they have furniture over it so people didn't see it? Yeah,
right. Yeah, but I'll show you mine later after this.
No thanks.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours. That thing.
What? I need to be tossed head first into it.
Are we 5 years old?
Yeah.
I'll show you my wee wee. You show me your hoo ha.
No.
No? All right. So the victims, Mr. Jones, Jack Bogert, and 5 unidentified men found with the skulls broken and throats slashed in Drum Creek. Ben Brown, W.F. McCrotty, Henry Mackenzie, Dr. William York, John Greery. At least 3 unidentified male and 1 unidentified female were found in the apple orchard. John Boyle, George Newton, and daughter Mary Ann Longer were found in the well. Various body parts were found that did not belong to the aforementioned deceased. This suggests at least 3 or more additional victims. When the newspapers reported this, they said all the bodies were indecently and brutally mutilated. When the word of these murders were spread, thousands of people came to the site, including news reporters from New York City and Chicago. The Bender's cabin was even ripped apart by souvenir hunters. They took things like the bricks from the cellar and stones from the well. Do you think people still have those?
Oh, for sure.
Like their
It has
attics?
to be, yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, again, like our not judicial, but like there could have been evidence on there
Oh, 100%.
that could have helped identify somebody's long lost loved one. I mean, obviously they didn't have DNA and all that crap last.
Yeah, probably not back then.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And then how much of those wood scraps? So obviously we're talking couple century. What was it? 1870. So yeah, we're many years here. So the first family would be like, "Look at my cool souvenir," but then like 10 generations later is like, "Why does Grandpa keep hanging onto this brick?" Like,
Brick with a blood stain.
Yeah.
Or
I actually just hopped on eBay to see if there's any
a bender brick,
Bender brick,
a bloody
Bender's
blender
family
brick.
and I didn't see anything. Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Try Craigslist.
Oh yeah.
I don't have Craigslist. You guys can do that. But a woman who is believed to be a friend of the Bender family, known as Brockman, was accused of knowing information about the killings. He was brutally interrogated for information on the Benders, their whereabouts, their victims, and their methods. He was hung from a beam in the barn until he was unconscious. Then he was revived and roughly interrogated again. This was repeated 3 more times until nearly dead, after which his interrogators released him to walk home. Locals described him as staggering home as if they were drunk or deranged. That is horrible.
How fucked up is that?
That is horrible.
Right?
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, I don't have words for that. Here, I'm going to strangle you
I
until
think
you
this
pass
is where
out.
this story started giving me even more creeps. Like, who's more of the villain here?
Right.
The people murdering strangers or the people trying to get
Well-
information out of potentially innocent people?
It goes back to like the witch trials. Like they were brutal to their own community.
Right.
Mhm.
So who did more damage?
Yeah.
That's so fucked up.
Oh, agreed. After exhaustive detective work, that it was not detective work, by the town, it seemed that more and more questions would arise as to who the Benders actually were, but at the same time, clarity began to come forth as to how the Benders committed all these murders. During the search of the property, a Roman Catholic Bible was found in the home. Back then, this would be considered a major clue, as families often recorded major life events in the front pages of family Bibles. With various German notes inside, some of the remarks included: Johanna Bender, born July 30th, 1848. John Gerbhardt came to America July 1st, 18 ? Big Slaughter Day, January 8th. Hell departed. It was believed that when they had a guest stay at the inn, they would have this individual sit at the head of the table. The guest seat was positioned over the trap door with their back to a curtain. Kate would distract the guests while John Sr. and John Jr. would hide behind the curtain, strike the victim on the right side of the skull with one of 3 hammers found at the side of the cabin. Next, either Kate or Mal would cut the victim's throat, presumably with the knife that was later found behind the clock on the mantel of the fireplace, and then drop them into the cellar through the trap door. Once in the cellar, the Benders would strip the body and bury it somewhere on the property. They then took possession of any valuables the victims carried with them. It is said that the Benders gained about $4,600, 2 teams of horses, wagons, and saddles. Since most of the victims didn't have much of anything of value on their person, it was speculated that the Benders killed for the thrill of it. Some of the testimonies from the victims who escaped include William Pickering, who said he refused to sit near the wagon cloth because of the stains, and Kate had threatened him with a knife, which made him run away from the property.
For some reason, I could just like, I picture someone with a knife, like a lady with a knife, going, ah! And like the guy like, ah! And running away. It's just comical in my head for some reason.
I feel as though that's like a game you and Brian play at home, naked.
Oh god.
No.
That's what I think. Is that like one of your weird, sick
No,
sex
because he
games.
wouldn't even trust me with a knife because I tend to accidentally cut myself a lot when I'm cutting
Just the plastic
food.
butter knives for you. Those can be sharp though. Actually.
I'll still figure out how to cut people with that.
Oh my! I'm happy there's no weapons in this room.
Anything could be a weapon, sir.
You know
Very
what?
true.
If,
Very,
you,
very
if you
true.
try hard enough, anything can be a butt plug.
One of my friends.
I can't
Anyone
wait.
think could be your butt plug.
I
One of my
can't
friends.
made one of my other friends a really cute cross stitch. Then it had flowers and it was beautiful and it said, "Anything can be a dildo if you're brave enough."
That's
is awesome.
amazing.
Shout out.
Shout out. Do you want
No name dropping.
Do you want to drop a name?
No.
All right.
You know who you are.
I don't. I would like to meet both of them.
No, I keep you away from my other friends.
I know. It makes me sad.
You know, well, you're my special friend, remember?
You're my special friend.
I am special. Yeah. Some of the testimonies from the victims who I already read that. Sorry.
We're at 2 men.
Yeah. 2 men who came to the inn to experience Kate's psychic abilities stayed for dinner, but they too refused to sit at the table next to the canvas partition. Then said they much rather prefer to eat their meal standing at the main shop counter. Kate became combative at these men's insistence. A few moments after the initial confrontation, the 2 Bender men emerged out from behind the curtain. The 2 men, feeling uneasy and concerned for their safety, decided to leave. So,
But like nobody reported either of these instances to the police, or the police didn't care, and the Benders didn't clean the curtain.
yeah, that seems weird.
Like dirty,
Right. Like
dirty.
if I saw like stains, I'd be like, isn't that blood? Like I would start second guessing, especially being after I threatened with a knife.
Right. And what's your excuse? Like, I butcher my animals fresh here for the
right,
kitchen?
Right at the
Right
dining room table.
Yeah, like we just chopped the goose head off at the table.
Yeah, no, this is
They're just
really
creepy
weird.
people.
Now you are probably wondering what happened to the Benders after they disappeared. When it was noticed the Benders fled, Colonel York offered a $1,000 reward for the family's arrest, which is a little over $26,000 today. The Kansas governor, Thomas A. Osborne, offered a second $2,000 reward for the apprehension of all 4, which would be over $52,000 today. Detectives were said to have followed wagon tracks roughly 10 to 12 miles north of the Bender homestead, and they ended outside the city limits of a town called Thayer. The Bender wagon was found abandoned with starving horses still attached. The detectives confirmed that the family took the Galveston Railroad southbound on a train from Leavenworth, Kansas to Lawrence, Kansas. It was here where the family decided to split up. John Jr. and Kate decided to head northeast and boarded a train toward Humboldt Station in Buffalo, New York. At Shawnee, John Jr. and Kate switched train lines and caught the southbound MK&T train toward Red River County near Denison, Texas. From here, John Jr. and Kate traveled to an outlaw colony near the border of Texas and New Mexico. They were never pursued because of how dangerous it was for lawmen to enter this region, and for those who dared, they often never returned. Later, a detective went in to claim that they was able to trace John Jr. and Kate to the border and found John Jr. died of
Apoplexy,
aka a stroke. Why not just say a stroke?
Because they wanted to be fancy.
and that's not what the death certificate said back then.
Jesus.
You gotta be fancy.
Shut up.
You shut up.
John Sr. and Elvira were said to have decided to head east towards Kansas City, where they were then purchased tickets to St. Louis, Missouri. No one knows exactly what happened to the Benders, but here are some claims and theories. There were some vigilante groups that continued to search for the Benders. One story is that one of these groups caught the Benders, shot John, Ma, and John Jr., and then they buried Kate alive. Fitting.
Yeah.
Another group has claimed to also have caught the Benders and lynched them before throwing the bodies into the Verdigris River. A third claimed they killed the Benders in a gunfight, then buried their bodies on a prairie. Despite all these claims, no one ever came forward to claim the reward bounty, and none of the Benders or their bodies were ever found. As mentioned earlier, John Bender may have also been known as John Flickinger, and the man that exact name was found to have died by suicide near Lake Michigan in 1884. Also in 1884, an elderly man that matched the description of John Bender was arrested in Montana for a murder of a man near Salmon, Idaho. The murder victim was killed by a hammer blow to the head. There was also a request sent to detectives in Kansas to come confirm the identity of this elderly man. At some point, the elderly man had escaped from jail by severing his foot from his leg irons and then bled to death. By the time Kansas officials had arrived, the corpse of the dead man was so far decomposed that positive ID could not be made. That's like the movie Saw.
No kidding.
Yep.
Like, how desperate do you have to be?
Yeah.
To like saw off your own leg.
He's in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did he cut his leg off with?
Not only that, he's in prison. Are you telling me the one-footed man escaped prison?
Yeah. So you literally could get away with murder back then.
Oh, yeah.
See, I think about like this whole prison thing. Have you seen Blazing Saddles?
Yeah.
Yes.
How the guy just sleeps basically, and he's supposed to be like the deputy, but he sleeps. That's what I'm picturing is like the person that's supposed to be watching is sleeping, and the guy did this, even though you'd think he'd be screaming whatever, but like he does and wasn't paying attention and just walked right by him.
Yeah.
Well, hopped.
Dripped and hopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or crawled. He could have crawled.
I guess. But that's just really ridiculous.
This almost doesn't even sound real. Like, it sounds like it could be a cartoon.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. In 1889, Elvira and Kate Bender were arrested in Niles, Michigan for the theft, but were released on grounds of being found not guilty. They were later arrested for a second time, this time being accused of being the part of the Bender family. They denied the accusation strongly, but after being worn down by officials, they began making accusations against one another, claiming that they were an innocent bystander and the other members of the family were the ones who planned and committed the murders. It was also suggested that Elvira and Kate may have murdered John Sr. and made it look like a suicide because when he fled Kansas, he kept all the cash and valuables for himself. Eventually, the two women would be put on trial, and evidence proved the women accused of being Kate Bender produced a Michigan marriage certificate as her alibi, claiming she was in Michigan at the time of the murders. An affidavit produced by a daughter of the woman accused of being Elvira would show real identity to be Elmira Monroe, married to a completely different man with an entirely different family. Though many still believe this woman to be the true Elvira and Kate Bender, due to the lack of evidence, they were released and never charged. At the end of the day, no one ever truly knows what became of America's first serial killing family. There are stories that say the old Bender property was haunted. A decade after the gruesome killings, nothing was left of the cabin and outbuildings on the property. The only thing that remained was an empty hole that had once been the cellar. From these depths allegedly came the souls of those murdered on site, wandering about the property and making moaning sounds that passersby could hear. Those most often reported glowing apparitions on the property were those who came to the site in search of some long-lost souvenir of the grisly murders. Quickly, the scavengers were frightened away by the dead souls to spread their ghostly tales. As the haunting legend continued, people began to say that Kate Bender had returned to the property, doomed to roam the very land where she had committed so many atrocities. Whether the stuff of folklore or fact, many believe that the trapped souls of these century-old ghosts continue to lurk at the site today. So next time you find yourself cruising past the lonely hill highway of what is now known as U.S. Highway 400, keep an eye on those Bender mounds.
These women were evil. I think it was the women.
I mean,
mainly.
I think all women are evil.
True.
So don't fuck with us.
That's all I do.
So you're just pushing that envelope.
I'm just asking for it.
Yeah.
That way.
Yeah.
So, like, when I was doing research with this, there are some similarities with the whole story of Sweeney Todd.
How so?
Just how the story with Sweeney Todd is, like, he's a barber. He also, like, has, like, this, like, lady friend who is a baker. They have these people come and go to him and get, like, shaven, get a shave or a haircut, and he takes, like, the the razor blade, the straight edge razor blade that they used to shave people back then, and cut their throats. And then underneath the chair that they sit in when they're getting their haircut or whatever, it's like just like the chair that they have, the Bender's family had. Like it goes right, slips into like a cellar, but the only difference is the baker will take the bodies, cut them up, and put them in meat pies and sell them in their bakery.
Ew.
Whereas this one, they don't sell it to people; they just bury it in their property and steal their stuffs. But I don't know. It's just like how they lure people in and kill them and put them in through a cellar, like a secret cellar.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know the story of Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, that's it.
When did that story
I didn't see it.
get written? Anybody know? Because I wonder if that was pulled from this, or if they were.
That's the thing, is it's fictional.
Right.
That's interesting. Sweeney Todd, 1847.
Oh, so that was
So it's
before
before.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
Before. And that's fun.
Weird.
Yeah. Another synchronicity.
And
Yeah.
they said the Sweeney Todd story is based in what did I just see?
Leviathan,
Oh,
England.
Mrs. Lovett. But what was the name of the county that they were?
They were in England.
Well,
No. I just lost my spot. The Benders, they were in what county though? In Kansas. Was it also
Osage.
Osage.
No, that's
That's a township.
that's the trail. They were in.
Well, Sweeney Todd was from like England, so it's England versus the United States.
It was Labatt County, Kansas,
Oh, Labette.
in the township of Osage.
So they're from Labette, but the character in Sweeney Todd was Mrs. Lovett. That's what they look.
Oh.
Yeah,
was
the
just wondering if-
baker,
Sure.
the baker / his partner, Mrs. Lebet.
All right. So, do you guys think this was real?
I think it's real, and I had a theory on it. I don't think that they really were the Benders.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that they might have robbed and murdered people. I don't feel that they were related. I think that they were 4 individual people
Mm-hmm.
who shared a common kink. But I think maybe they stole identities from their victims,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe when they came to Kansas, maybe there was somebody already living on the property that was perhaps the Benders. That
Mhm.
family was murdered. They had their Bible. They assumed their identities. And then as they wander the country and murder, they just keep changing their story. I mean, if Elvira was married 4 times or, whatever, it wouldn't be too hard to steal an identity back then.
It sounds like this is the story of the movie The Burbs.
I didn't do that movie.
You didn't do that movie?
Mm-mm.
I've heard of it, but never seen it.
Oh, such a great movie. Tom Hanks in the 80s, The Burbs.
The Burbs.
Yeah. Such a
Burb.
great,
Is it a scary story
It's
or a comedy?
It's both. It's creepy and it's more of a comedy.
Oh, okay.
It's more of a comedy, but it's a great, fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
You guys should do that movie. It's called The Burbs.
The Burbs.
Yes. All right. Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it's real?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think you have it. Your theory kind of holds a lot of water, where it was just a case of stolen identity, and these 4 people were, 2 couples that just got together, and they needed to play as a family to consider or to continue just murdering people for fun.
Yeah. I mean, especially in the early, when they were describing that they each had different accents. I mean, I
Mhm.
can understand, your kids will probably speak a language more fluently than you if you're,
Mhm.
transitioning, but that, between John Jr. and Kate, you're only talking about 2-3 years difference, and one had perfect English
Right.
and the other one had a German accent,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
the father was unintelligible. I don't know. It
Yeah.
seems like a blend of people who came together.
Yeah, and Kate was very promiscuous.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah,
when
yeah.
they were describing what each of them looked like too, like none of them described them that any of them looked alike.
Right.
They all look different,
Yeah. Yeah, Kate was hot and everyone else was ugly.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Sr. had a strong eyebrow game.
Strong eyebrow.
Yeah. Hey, respect.
Bushy caterpillar eyebrows.
Yeah, no, love it. That's great. So, all right. Anything to add to the bloody benders?
The bloody blenders.
Yeah.
Yeah. One theory I remember.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
That was a sound clip.
That's got to go on the soundboard.
Yeah.
That laugh. It's just fantastic. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry.
One of the stories, like they were talking about with John and Kate. It's John and Kate Pussy. Just kidding. That they were at one point they were acting like husband and wife, and then she actually got pregnant, and apparently she killed her baby by slashing that throat after the baby was born.
Oh,
That's a little side note.
No, that's a great side note. Thanks for adding that to this fucking horrible.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Because I just want to keep saying how nasty Kate was, because I feel like Kate was the worst.
She was worse.
She was worse. Kate
She's
was
got
worse.
super resting bitch face.
She
sounded like a manipulated bitch.
Yeah. Well, she also probably like was great in the sack, because usually crazy chicks are.
Maybe.
I've been with a couple. They are.
Well, good thing you didn't get your head bashed and your throat slit.
Well, my head did get
Or
bashed.
chased around with a knife. Unless you were chased
maybe
around
you
with a
were.
knife.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So, all right.
Yeah, but you can see the knife in the museum upon request, and there are blood stains still on it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So
we need to go. We need to go find the Bender
Kansas
Mounds.
is far.
That would be fun.
Yeah. But it's actually not that far from Villisca
Or
and Beatty.
Beatty.
And that
So, I
whole
mean, like, if we ever go
Bermuda
there,
Triangle. See, why is
Yeah.
all this shit happening in this area?
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on now?
I would have to say it has something to do with Native American land being stolen. Maybe like all these people are poisoned by the land and they make these atrocities.
Maybe.
I don't know. Just an idea.
Can't blame everything on the Native Americans.
I'm not blaming it. It's the white man's fault.
Yeah.
You know, so the Native Americans.
Cursed them.
Yeah.
Or.
Yeah. I'm not blaming them at all. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all I got.
Well.
Ladies.
Bloody blenders.
I got nothing else.
All right. Well, this has been fun, guys. I'm going to take a great nap after this because it was a great topic, whoever picked it.
You're welcome, Bree.
I hate her.
You love me.
Bree for the win.
Bree for the... All right. Well, Jesus Christ. Sounds like an orgasm more than a laugh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. This is Frank.
This is Bree.
This is Lynette.
And you've been listening to Fringe
Beyond